Okay. So if you open JMeter, right? Let's see what we are getting when you open the JMeter anytime. Okay, if you see this command prompt in the back end, right, it says do not use GA for load testing, only for test creation and debugging. Okay, and for load testing, use CLI mode, means was a non-GUI, means earlier they call it non-GUI. Now use CLI, command line interface mode, and with this command. Okay, right? So why? Because when you're running a GUI mode, right, it will take a lot of memory. But you compare with the command line, means it will take memory, but not much of the UI. Maybe you save 20% or 15% of memory. Okay, so now let's see today how we'll run our JMeter scripts in a command line mode. Okay, so command mode is nothing but we won't be opening any JMeter UI. We'll be running in everything in a command lines. You know, right? What's command line? Simple command lines. Okay, so for that, first you have to, so let's close JMeter. Okay, okay, let's go to your bin folder. Okay, go to bin folder, open CMD here because you should have able to access JMeter. Right? It should be in bin folder or you open normal command prompt and you give the path to your JMeter. Either way, it's fine. Okay. So now let's say JMeter. If I do like this, right, it will open the UI. Correct. It will that command prompt will as a interface as a command backend prompt to check the any requisites are there or not, right? But instead of that one, if I do, let me close this. Okay, if I give JMeter space -n, means I'm telling them a JMeter to open in a non-GUI mode, non-GUI nothing but CLI mode. Okay, non-GUI but no UI. CLI is a new name they kept for this recent versions, command line interface. So I'm telling my JMeter to open non-GUI mode. Okay, now JMeter no non-GUI mode. Now we have to give a test script, right? JMX file. No? So in JMeter, what we did a file and we open a JMX file. Same way, if we want to do here, we have to give -t. You can see, right? If you don't remember, able to understand, you can see whenever you open your JMeter from bin, right, you will see always in the command prompt. Okay, -t nothing but the JMX file. So what is JMX file? Let's go to any JMX file which you are running here. Okay, let's just SSN JMX. So let's copy the path. Control C, right? Here, paste. Space, Control C. Okay, paste /SSN JMX. So assume that if you have a spaces in our folder names, right? Anyway, right now kept hyphen. No? Suppose you kept a folder space. No, in that cases this won't work. You have to put in double quotes. If your folder name or anywhere in between path, if you have spaces, so if you give like this, it won't work because space is there, right? It will thought that's some other command. Okay, whenever spaces, you have to put in double quotes, entire path. Okay, now in GUI, what is happening? Once you click on run button, we are going visually, right? Checking our data. How many record pass, how many fast, what is happening, right? Same way here, we don't have here to check that, right? That's why you'll give the -L. -L nothing but listener. What listener do? It will catch your reports and do that, right? No -L listener. So let's say sometimes I'm running 5 users, so I'll do 5 users. What is JMeter report extension file? Extension. It's a .jtl, right? 5 results.jtl. JMX is for script, JTL for our results. Now, if there's something went wrong, like if I'm writing coding wrong, I'm getting error in the console, right? Okay, let me show you that again.
So Ravi, that should be in double quotes or single quotes?
Double quotes. In Java, when you command prompts, Windows, mostly it's a double quotes. In the Python, then maybe single quotes.
Okay.
If you see here, whenever, see now I loaded the JMX, whatever I want, right? So No, but sometimes, right, if they're coding login, right, we're checking this console. If you want to check any scripting side errors, means your JMX or CS, any error we'll seeing here, right? But how we'll see in the UI here? So that's where minus J. You don't see minus J here, but you'll get to know. I'll tell you. So there is no minus J is nothing but JMeter log. So they say that 5 users dot log. So this will help us from JMeter's log. So whatever you're seeing here now, we'll be seeing that in the this log. Okay, now let's run. Simply click on run button. So it's see started, waiting, started SALN test. So based on whatever number of users are given there, it will take the time and run. Okay, sometimes not able to run, just click on enter, it may load it. Now you see, executed 7 requests or this much of time of error 1%. And trading out end of the run. So now in this path, right, did I give any path of the to store the log and JTL? No, right? So by default, which location we are in? Bin. So by default, you will be seeing in this location. Let's go to our folder, bin folder. Let me sort into that. You see, right? Let me sort by date modified. You see, JTL and log. If I open the log, it says whatever JMet log, right? It says it opened. It opened JMet script and yeah, it opened the script here. So there's some partial errors. Normal, whatever geometry will do, right? And it ended. It says that stored in this pets. Okay, image we are uploading, so downloading something. Okay, so we got result here. Now to see our data, right? How many pass, how many fail? You can see the 1% error, right? Here. So now see what is that 1% error to show here. If I open, so I can open in the notepad, I can open in the CSV. Correct. So, but notepad and CSV, we more understand properly, right? So what is the other option? Go to our JMeter. Now testing is done, na? So let's add to vRegistry. Add listener, vRegistry. Browse. Okay, go to your bin location. Where's the bin location? Okay, open file.jtl. Let's console it. Yeah, see now we got to know. But here, if you observe, you won't see request and response. Because this JTL doesn't have those data, it will only matrix. If you see the only matrix. So here you'll get to know, okay, it says I think assertion got failed or something, right? So it says 200, okay, but assertion got failed. So like that, you can see. Suppose I open the aggregate report, right? Or aggregate report will on the same file bin, then we'll get the data. It is failed 100% and remaining this is that. Okay, it's clear, right? So what we did simply, we given command jmeter minus n. I'm saying jmeter open minus n minus t for test plan means jmax. Whatever jmax you want to run, jmax minus l for listener. So one executed, what are the results you want to store? Use a minus l and minus j for a jmeter log. If you see more options, right, you can see jmeter space minus l. See, it says minus help only says this is the comments to list all the command and options. Question mark is there. So command prompt or non-GM mode minus L minus T. If you have any property file, right, you can pass the property file. So here minus C minus J log file is there. Okay. Same as for Unix, right? Whatever the Unix can do. Okay. So these are the options available. So when you start a server mode now, jmod server.bot, you can use the same command .bat file. So while normally what we did, so we used jmod server. Right? Same thing bat here, you can use it. Okay, now let's see what are other options. Suppose now, if I don't want to use blaze meter, right, I can get a reports. So I don't get a proper report. So I don't want to use blaze meter. I need to go for this graphs. Correct. But every time what I have to do, you have to copy and paste in one simple sample report. Right? Suppose I have 5 graphs, I need to copy 5 graphs and I need to copy this aggregate report, Excel read, everything in one single format for to send a report to my manager or client. So every time can you able to do that? No, right? Every time I will do one time. Okay. So every time I need to copy entire thing, some 20 rest. So I can't copy 20 rest of 20 report files. So that's why we have one more option in JMeter. to generate HTML report. If you're using BlazeMeter, fine, because BlazeMeter will give the report. If you're not using BlazeMeter, if you want to generate the report, you can use an HTML report. Okay. So let's see first how we run in the command prompt. Okay. So we have two options to generate the report. First option is while executing the JMX itself. One option. Or if you have already JTL, you can generate the report. Suppose you forget to run the report command here, right? But you have a JTL, na? So if you have JTL, how to run? Okay, let's see for first purpose, while running the JMeter report, how to do is minus space. If you see here, minus E minus O. Minus E nothing but extend report. Minus E. Extend report minus O output folder. Minus O output folder. So we have to clear or we have to give one folder here. It's a blank folder. So let's say 5 users HTML report. So if you not create a folder by default, it will create it. So which location it will create it? Bin location. I haven't given anything, right? Now just run, right? Okay. Result file is not empty. Okay. So we are giving this file, right? It's already there now. So let me delete it. It's not our, right? So let me delete this file and this both the logs also. Okay, I'm using up arrow, same command. Tejshwi, Swata, getting it right?
Oh, yes, Ravi. Ravi, if the folder name is same, then how should we handle it? Like,
No, it will throw
I
error
mean, if
again. If
I
it's
say,
same folder, right?
yeah,
It will throw
but
error.
no, if I wanted to generate it today and tomorrow also, so can't we differentiate it with date or time?
No, I mean, you can write, if you know the Windows PowerShell commands, right? You can write date here.
Okay.
Or you can create manually the folder name and you can pass the name here.
Okay, so each time we have to create a new
Different.
folder.
Suppose you have 20 runs, right? You have to get 20 folders.
Okay.
Okay. So now done, right? Let's go to the folder.
Ravi, one more thing.
Hmm.
Only we can, which is saved, only those JXMM files we can run in the command prompt, right?
Yes, yes. JMX should be ready.
Okay.
You should do correlation, everything, and script queue ready. Then only you can pass to command line. So in the GUI, we'll be creating JMX, right? So at the time, we'll run with 1 user, 2 users, right, to make sure everything working. So one higher load will come to command line. Okay. Yeah. Now we see, right? Our folder got generated. Let's go to folder. And this is the 4 contents. So you can ignore all the 4, just use this index.html. So this index.html, you see it open like this. In our folder, index.html. See now is three tabs here. The first tab is dashboard. Means when our start ended, when it is ended. So when it started, when it is ended, what is the file name? Here it will show how much pass, how much fail, and what are the APIs here. You can ignore this. How much the APIs here, right? Just scroll down. You'll see the main dashboard. It's like an aggregate report. Okay, the error percentage, average, everything. Like how we say aggregator, same thing. So it has one more section called errors. How? So it says value expected to match regular expected source, but it is not match. So we got this error. You get some assertion, right? So how many errors it failed in what is the total number of samples? If I need different errors, no, on which request, on what are the errors we'll see. So it says total only one type of error, and this is the value. It's like this. So this is the main dashboard. Suppose I mentioned, right, graphs. So you simply go to charts here. So you'll see over time. So let's say response time over time. See, you will see all the graphs here. Again, you can do download or save. You can do that. Right? Response or active that's over time. Let's expand this. Okay, as we are keeping only single data, that's why it's in dots. For a higher load, you will see the more data. So these are like 8 or 9 charts. And again, see, if you have same like throughput, each per second. What we discussed, right? That's the same data, all the data. Same now, if you have say response times, again, we have around 20 graphs will be there. Okay, so one time versus thread, you will see time versus steps. All the graphs. So you'll simply share, if you want any custom graphs, you can do that here over time. It's not working. You can ignore it. Otherwise, okay, it's loading that. right? So so all the graphs. So simply share this report to your client or someone. That's it. Everything. If you are interested in dashboard, they'll go to dashboard. If they're interested in graphs, they'll go to graphs. So you don't have to prepare a custom report. So you can use simply this JMeter option. Okay, right. Now, as I told you, right, this command is only if while running. But I've already JMX, right? I'm using in GUI also we can save the JTL, right? Correct. If I give the file name, what will happen? We discuss on lesson session. It will generate the JTL file with the result, right? So assume that I have the files. Now I want to generate the report. So in that case, what you can do is, let's do one option, JMeter -G. Okay, let's see, that's the path. The JTL file. JMeter -N -T. -G minus. So now -G space. I already have data now. Previous 5 users. This one we saved, right? Remember transaction 1. Okay, trial 1. So now -E, so -O. So again, I have to give a new folder. So I'll give 5 users 1. So it will create a new folder. So if I have a JTL file already existing file, so you can generate HTML report like this. An error occurred, could not read metadata. Okay, I think the JTL file is customization, I guess. That's why. Okay, let's use our existing JTL. Which is the 5 users which we created already, no? -O, 5 users, 1. Okay, if you see the one error means it's done. Now let's go to 5 user JTL in bin folder. Now see 5 users 1 is created and the same file. So if you want to do on the runtime while running your script, you can do that. Or if you have already JTL, if you want to generate the report, you can do that. Or if you want to generate the JTL report, but you don't want command line. So in that case, you can go to JMeter in the options, right? In the tools. In the tools, you'll see generate HTML report. Okay, generate HTML report. So just click on this one. So it's asking result file. So let's go to browse. Let's give this 5 user file only. Okay, user property file. User property file means in a bin folder, you can pass this user property files. Just go to browse, we'll see user properties files. Output, right? So what are the output you'll give? You'll give 5 users from GUI. That's it. So generate report. Cannot create output for okay. Here it can't create the automatically. Let's click on the browse. Let's click on the new folder in the bin. 5 users GUI. Okay, now just click generate report. Now getting generating report created. So let's go to same way. Just 5 user GUI. See, you'll get same thing. Okay, it's clear, right? JMeter command line, JMeter HTML report. So you can use either of the way to get your HTML file. So my main name is JTL. If you're not having JTL, then you can't go HTML report. Either you have to rerun again. Okay. Yeah. Now, let's understand the properties files, right? And like some miscellaneous in JMeter. Suppose I have one thread group, add thread group. Okay, I have some request, one request only. Okay, which is our HTTPS / just started. Now I have added a regular expression extractor to get some value here. So now I have one more thread group, add thread group. If I want to pass, can I pass the data to here? Let's add dummy sampler here, add sampler. I'll tell you what is dummy sampler. Okay, tell me first thing. what is regular expression extractor will do? It will just extract the value and it will store one variables, and wherever we want, we can use a variable, correct? Right? So,
Yes.
but here, that limitation of that regular expression extractor, scope of the regular expression extractor is only for this third group. You can't use beyond this third group of any variables or any variable generated in our third group. It could be a coding, it could be anywhere, whatever is generated out variables, right? Output, you can't use outside of a third group. But default, the limit, the scope or limit of your third group values in the third group only, all the variables. But I want to put data to second third group. I have a second third group. I want to pass the data. How we'll do that? So that's where we'll use some 2 or 3 components for that. Okay. So let's see, for testing purpose, right? I use a dummy server as well. Let's use some dummy server one here also. I have one dummy sampler called dummy sampler from plugins. So this is nothing but our practice purpose. So it won't make any server call. So whatever you put request data, it will display in velocity. Whatever the response that you put, you will get the response. Suppose you want to practice regular expression extractor with different names. So what you will do? Generally, you have to treat the API, right? To make sure our expression is working or not. Correct. So once you got the response, we'll be going velocity, we'll change the regular expression extractor and you are testing it. Understood, no? But for testing, you don't have to treat, right? Because we need response only. We don't have to make any server calls. So what you do is simply copy the paste of the response, you paste here response. Just copy and paste the response here. So once you run this now, let's go ahead velocity. Let's save. Dummy sampler. Just you're getting it right. Sata?
Yeah, Ravi, but a bit confusing.
Yes.
Yeah, dummy sampler, right? Or a HTML report?
No, just dummy sample.
The sample.
Okay, see, now I simply executed, right? See, it won't display in request data because it is not there. It's like dummy, the names of response I will get. Suppose here I will put. So I want to practice some regular expression. So what I will do, name equal to JMeter. And one more column, name equal to Java. If I run the script now, see, I got output, right? Now I can do regular expression next or whatever I do. So here you don't have to depend on real APIs. Understood, right? Only the practice purpose and debugging purpose. Okay, let's say, suppose you want to, you are writing some code, right? On that we write some minimum number code, no? So to make sure it's working, what we are doing, we are executing the code and we're sending value to our API, but make sure the API is getting there or not. So here we unnecessarily are calling our APIs, right? For testing purpose. So that cases, or the practicing regular expressions or anything, you don't want to go hit your API. Really, you need either response or request. That's it. So what we'll do, simply copy the response, whatever you want, and keep paste here. And we'll practice here. It's like for dummy purpose, nothing but dummy. For practicing or testing purposes, so debugging purposes. It's clear? Like how we rough pad, no? How we'll do rough pad? Kind of rough pad only. Instead of, but only thing is, we are not hitting the main server API. So this will help when you're debugging, when you're practicing. Right? That will only be helpful. Or otherwise, there's no much use of this. Okay. Now what I do here, right now, write a regular expression of this. Okay. So I want to JMeter extract. What I'll do, name equal to dot plus question mark. Okay, I got 2 matches, right? So let's copy this match. Understood, right? Now what I'm doing, instead of hitting Rail API for this teaching purpose or just explaining purpose, I'm doing this. It's clear now? Just only practice, nothing much. Okay. Add. Say like same exact sampler only. You can do whatever you want to do, anything. Suppose see, you are testing a duration assertion. So what is duration assertion will do? It means it will check your response time, right? Suppose it's working or not, what you'll do, right? You can put your response time whatever you want. Suppose I want to say mother, whether it's a failing with 8 seconds or not. So simply give 8 seconds and run. What will happen? See, it given 8 seconds. So now you check duration as working or not. Like this way, you can do a control anything or how do our things work. Okay. Yeah.
Ravi, here in the dummy sampler,
Hmm.
we have taken the existing one without hitting the API, right? We are just checking with the existing ones
Correct. I
by
mean,
not
ah,
entering the paths and everything.
correct. Yes. So before hitting real one, you want to practice, we'll come to here, we'll do that. That's
Okay.
it. Okay. Yeah. Now let's see. Add a regular expression extractor. Okay. Whatever expression paste is. Let's give name. Okay. $1. Match number 1. Okay. Now, if I want to test it, right, what I need to do, I want to pass this name in some other request, right? Then only I'll get to know whether my name is passing or not. So in that case, I can add one more dummy sampler and pass it, or I can add debug sampler. Right? Understood, right? I want to know whether name is picking or not. So I can add a debug sampler or one more dummy sampler. In the dummy sampler, I'll pass dollar curly braces name. Okay, now let's run. See whether our regular expression worked or not. See debug sampler. Response is a name is working, right? Now I want to pass this J name to my in second third group. In second third group, I add one more dummy sampler or any request. I want to pass that name here. So if I do dollar curly braces name, so do you think that data will pass? No. Thus name is limited to scope is this third group only. Now let's run and see. Okay, let's add a different name here so that we'll get to know which is third group 2. Okay, this is the third group 1. Okay, thread group to see in the request body, where is the request? See name only. But general what happens if we pass all curly brace name, the value inside name should we go there, right? What is the name of the value? Debug sampler. What is the name? JMeter. So we should see JMeter, right? That's what we did in our regular expression extractor. Correct. So let's copy paste same thing in the same thread group. Okay, this is thread group 1, request 2. Okay, request 2. Now if I run the script, in the sampler, where is this one? In the request 2, if you see here, so you got JMeter here, correct? But whereas if you see the second thread group, you got name only. Why? Because this name scope is belong to this thread group only. That's why even though we pass dollar of name, it has taken updated variable of JMeter. So now how we will pass? How will pass the data from one thread group to other thread group? So that's where we will use one inter-thread group, pre-processor and post-processor. Now what I will do in this request, add post-processor. Where is this? Inter-thread. Okay, it's not there. Let's add the plugin. Tool plugin. You understood, right? Why we are doing this? I want to pass the data on that group because by default, all that is not there. So it's inter-thread communication. Just click on it, apply changes, restart JMeter.
So Ravi, passing the variables from one thread group to other thread group only for dummy samplers we have to use, or for any request?
No, anywhere. Now, for debugging purpose, I'm showing you any request. Okay, I'm just covering the dummy sampler along with this concept.
Okay.
Okay, suppose I have 10 HTTP requests, right? I want to pass any data to any request. I can enter that communication preprocessor. Okay, main thing is how we'll pass the data from one to other. That's what we are running here. Okay, so now it started. Add post processor. Now we'll see internet communication post processor. So why I'm adding post processor here? What post processor will do?
After getting the result.
Response, right? So here we are getting the response. No? That's why it's post processor. So here what we have to do, we have to send the name here. Na? So here I will use pre-processor because before sending the request, it has to get the name. Correct. So here our name is there. No, before sending the request, only pre-processor should work. That's why I add a pre-processor here, add post-processor here. Okay, now if you see queue, so it maintain one queue. Where is to value to put? What is the where value? Value to put is name. Na? Let's put a name here. Okay, and now in the preprocessor, it says variable name to store data. So it means whatever in the queue, right? It take the data to store here. So what I'll do, simply control C and come to here. Instead of name, I'll put this value. Got data. Now let's run and see. I'll explain you, don't worry. That group 2 name. We got name. Okay, sorry. Here we got name. So we have to put dollar curly braces name. So what is the variable I want to pass, right? This is a variable I want to pass. Dollar curly braces name, na? Simply I kept in my post. Same. Now I'm saying that this post processor store this value in this queue. So now preprocessor what will do, whatever the data in this queue, right? If you see the same queue names, sync FIFO, sync FIFO. So then the queue name output will take into this variable, and I'm using this variable in the dollar got data. So you got JMeter. Now using this post and preprocessor, we are able to transfer the data between one thread group to other thread group.
So we
Okay.
can use this for multiple, right, Ravi? Like this inter-thread group communication.
Multiple things. Only thing is you can change our queue names, right? You have some different data, right? You use one queue here, Cisco queue one queue, Cisco one queue. So that queue is responsible for some data.
Yeah, if I wanted to use the same thing like inter-thread communication post process or whatever is there, I wanted to use for 2, 3. I mean, in this the second thread group only, I wanted to use for other 2 requests. Then I can put preprocessor and I can.
No, you can't do that because once it got extracted, right, preprocessor, it's done. The queue will be empty. Okay, so in that case, what you have to do, right? First time want to use this dollar get data, right? You store this in one variable, some other way. Okay, so while discussing bean shell, we'll get to know that. Okay, so I store this one variable, then I use that variable to enter my thread group.
Okay.
Because again, if you add one more preprocessor to other request, right? So once the first request which is executed, the queue will be extracted. See, FIFO means first in, first out. So once one variable got out from the queue, that's it. You can't use second time.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the internet communication pre and post processor.
So for multiple things, if we want to use, then we need to use a different one.
Yes, different one. Yes. So we have different one, or we have one more setting is there. That's I will cover it now. Okay, we use that option.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Right now, as I mentioned, if I want to multiple times, no, I can't use this one. So that's why you go to our functions, options, tools, function helper dialog. Okay, in the drop down, you'll see here properties. Okay, P or property, either way. Suppose if I store this property, right? Okay, let's say I want to store JMeter, name of the property. Okay, name where we store the result. Okay, not required. You can see. Let's say name. Okay, let's put like this name JMeter. Okay, it means this property name is JMeter associated, right? So now once I done this, right, I can use anywhere to get property. Okay, I'll show you with the code. Okay, so let me Google that properly. Explain how to transfer variables from one thread group to another in JMeter. How to password. Okay. So let's go to any one of the blocks. So what they're doing here is key login. You want to set a property. Okay. So what you have to do is simply come here. Suppose I want to set the name, right? So they're saying user ID and dollar color user ID. And in the next case, you can use this one. Okay, let's use this property. So if you see set a property here, we don't have that property here. Yes. Okay. I'm just saying to copy the value. Okay, set property. So Control C. In the first thread group. Okay. In the first thread group, I had a bean shell post processor. Okay. What is bean shell? Nothing but to do some execution of the post. I will simply set what is user ID. So what is our name, right? I'll put a name in this name. Means I'm setting a property. Whatever the value you do here, setting it here. So this might not be knowing the name. So what I will do, name equal to, right, I'll put like this. Okay, name equal to where's dot get name. Means it will come here. The value will come to name here and name will be assigning to here. Let's put name B. Oh, okay, let's try this one. If doesn't work, then we'll do that. Okay. Now I'm setting this property, right? Now I want to use it. Now I will simply use get property or property. So let's say get the property using this value. Control C. So by doing this, instead of get data, right? I can use this one as well, this one. So what is our name, right? Yeah, now let's run and see. So by doing this, you can run multiple times. You don't have dependence anything. So you got JMeter. What I did simply, I simply set the property. You can call this anywhere once you're done with the response. So it means dollar of name value will store in this name. So this set property can be accessed by entire ever thread group. Okay, this is accessed by entire ever thread group. Now what I'm doing when I have to get the value, simply use dollar property. Underscore property. What are the name will give you the will get name value here. Okay, so if it's one or two times, use enter thread preprocessor. But if it's multiple times, multiple requests, multiple data, use the properties. So setting property in first thread group, using the property get property in the second thread group. Okay. Yeah. Now let's see the functions. So on that day we discussed about assertion of the current time and date. Do we or
No, Ravi, we didn't.
no? Right? We haven't discussed. No. Okay, fine. Okay, let's create a new JMX. Add thread groups. Let me save the functions. So these functions are very important, right? So this function will help us to cover off of your coding. You don't have to code anything. Okay. So let's see. Tools, functional for dialog. I'll show you one by one function. Suppose see. Now every time I want to generate one ID, a unique ID I want to generate it. Suppose I'm registration. I'm doing registration, right? So on the registration, I want to send different usernames, or I need a different numbers unique ID. So what you have to do, get unique ID, you have to write a code, say that, okay, this I have to code and everything. So now in a JMeter, we have this option. nothing but UID. So whenever you call this, you generate and click copy board means this is a function syntax. You can copy paste, already copied into your clipboard. You can simply paste it. Means this is our output. When you run, see if you click on generate again, see the value changing. Means every time whenever you invoke this function, you will get different value. So let's try this. Let group add. Let's put a dummy sampler. Okay, let me put here, or let me put in the name. More easy. So whenever you run, suppose I'm running for 5 times, I will see the output. Listener add listener. See, right? Every time with different value. So whenever you want to generate unique IDs for registration, anywhere you request. Okay, anywhere you want to do, you can use this UID function. Understood, right? Like this is one of the functions. Now let's see understand. So as well, on the day we're discussing time, right? So I want to asset my time. Because whenever I run, I want a current time. So what I will do, so let's say this, so I mean, let's use time here. So time function, the function, go to time. Okay, if you click on generate, we'll set a epoch time. Epoch time is nothing but Unix time step. Now I want to, no, my application is just, let me Google it properly. Is there any time to display the website? Website to display current time. But if you see here, right, time is changing. Okay, so let's try to this in a or a JMeter. Okay, let's add sampler. Strip request. Let's put this one as it is and let's run it. You're getting my point, right? What I'm trying to do? I want to see if I'm getting HTML response. Oh, 5 times you're getting. Let's change it to HTML. Okay. So now we got the time at 10:14 plus 5:30. Let's confirm the date. Why are you getting demoted? Oh, okay. It's not running here. Understood, right? No, what happening now? Generally, if you see here, it's working here, not time. But not we're getting here. Search for live time is about time keeping changing. It's not working because we are not calling the functions inbuilt it. So it's a browser, it may call the functions and display the data. But in the JMeter, when you hit this only HTML, it won't get the data. Okay, we have to add some more things to get the data. Okay, let me check any other website. Let me take. Okay, fine. Now let's go to this. Okay, let's say now your application is working like this. Okay. Just allowing add. Okay. So what it will do, it will display our time here, our application. Let's say we have our APS, we are getting the time here. Now, how to capture this time? What is date today? 24, right? So how we will capture your date? Suppose in the response assertion. Okay, response assertion. Let's go to this one only. Response assertion, add assertion, response assertion. If I give date, what is the format there? What is format 24/223? Let's format date. Control C. We'll put like this, right? But the script will look today. Tomorrow, if you run the same script, it will fail now. How we'll do that? You got my point? So whenever your application has this time or date, things is we have to use a function to give it at current time, right? So let's say my application date is this one. Control C. Let me put in dummy sampler. Okay, then my response, it will give the date like this. So now to generate or to do validate or dynamically, go to our function, unsample dialog. Let's go to time. Okay, now what is the date format? What is format? Month, date, year, right? So now do mm is like month, slash is there, you just give slash. What is date? DD slash year. If I run this function, it will see 50. Okay, it's capital M. It's a minute. Small m is for minute. See, what is the date we got? 02/24/23. So whenever you run the script, right, today, tomorrow, at that time it will generate the current date, current time only. So that in that case, you can use these time functions to validate your application. It's clear, right? Shweta, Tejasvi?
Yes.
Your
sir.
application has this date time. You can't validate. So every time when before running script, you have to check, okay, today date is 24. Let's put in assertion 24 date. Or okay, I'm running a script in 9 o'clock. Let's put a 9 o'clock date now and run the script. So not like that. You can give any format of this time function. Suppose they might be using dashes, right? What will do simply, this mmddyy is common. Okay, that's the default time format of Java. Okay. Now simply dash dash run. See, we got dash dashes. Are they using spaces? Spaces are using this one. Okay, this mmddy for month, date, year. Now let's want time, right? So now time, use, let's say HH. HS means hour. So for time, they will be like this now, colon. So let's use colon. Now small is minute and SS is second and triple S is millisecond. Too many patterns. Okay, I think yes is gone, I guess. No, not SS. SS are milliseconds. Okay. Oh, forgot about the milliseconds. Okay, let's see seconds. See, what is time now? 8:59, 52, right? Which run now. What is the time? Okay. Now we run again, then I click up 9 o'clock. So 9:07, 9:08, 9:09. So whenever you run this function will help you. At the same time, when you pass the inner input, suppose input, whenever you run, you have to pass the request time. Simply copy this function. Right? Let's want I want only time only. Let's say I want this time in my input. So simply it will generate your input. Simply copy the function and paste your request data. That's it. If you run our script now, let's run with one user. In request or responded, wherever you use, the output will see in the response is 9:04. For run second time, say 9:46. Third time, 9:50. So anywhere like this, you can use time function. So if there is no time function, you have to write a code to get the current time, current method, current date. Okay, same way. Now, if you want to, suppose you are doing multiple load tests, right? I want to send a thread numbers. So simply go to here. I mean, what is the number of users, right? You can come to here, functions, thread number. See, to get by default 0, suppose let me put here UID hyphen thread number. I want to know how much, which user it's failing, right? Now, if I run the script now, let's run with 5 users. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means this is the first user, second user, third user, fourth user, fifth user. So like this thread number works. Suppose your application has some encoding, decoding, right? Then you go to functional dialog. Go to base 64 D4. So not application decoding. Suppose you want encrypt, right? So this is base 64. Suppose I want to encode. First I want means when I'm sending username and password, right? Sometimes you will see if application may take in different format. In our application, if it's network tab, no, while recording, if you entering password as a JMeter, you will see some other characters because it's encoding. Because from while passing client to server, right, they don't want to pass your username password in a direct way, so that if something happened, right, leak or hack, they'll get to know your username password. So what they will mechanism so that they will hide your username password. Same as like encryption. This is a basic encryption. Suppose if I give JMeter and encrypt, right? So this is my output. So I have to pass this in my request. Same way, I'm getting like this Control C. Suppose I'm getting this out. I need to pass something like this. I want to decode this. So now go to decode and give the value here, whatever value decoded, render and clipboard. See now I got JMeter. No, no, sorry, encode decode. So that whenever you want encryption or decryption, so that whatever server is getting, whatever client is setting, based on that, you can use this function. Okay, now like this, now I want to choose random, right? Or just choose random. So anywhere to choose from. So I want to choose like suppose 5 or 10, like random controller, no? Same thing. Let's give 1, 2, 3. You must choose from. Okay, let's do only use space 1, 2, 3. Okay. Last name I must be stored will be stored. Okay, T Y. Wait, okay, not working. So if you don't know, right, what to do, just click on help. So let's see what choose random will do. Choose random. Where is that? It's random. Control F. Choose. Okay, that's I think from the plugins. Okay, that should discuss later. Okay, let's should add one more random. Okay, if it means suppose I want to give minimum 100, right? Generate run button. Right? It will generate every number different random between 1 to 100. See, 80, 31, 15, 2. So like this, suppose you want to select the years and select the number of quantity product, right? So every time you hard code the number of quantity in the product, it will be 2 or hard code 5, right? But default you want to do some 1 to 10. So every time it will add different number. In the assignment, we are given the second assignment, the pet store. In the update quantity, you are given 2, right? So every time you 2 run for 1 lakh or 5,000, it will happen 2 only. But not in the real time, not like that, right? You have to be different number for each user. So I'll put some 1 to 10 as max. So if in this between, the number will be generated. So in those cases, simply is a random. Okay, now there's some use case where I'm getting a capital letters. I want to change small letters. Okay, let's say I'll give caps. I'm getting a capital letter as my output. The regular expression extractor, I extracted and I'm getting I want but small letter. So I will put here simply lower and run. See, I got small letters. So I use this function and copy the function wherever I want to get output like this. Suppose I'm giving a small letter. I want to use upper letter. You can see, right? Function upper, default, lower, capitalize. So by default, if you don't give anything, it will by default caps, it convert to cap. See, output converted. If you don't know this function, what you have to do? You have to write a code. So that's why this function will help a lot. Okay, like this, we have a lot of functions here. So just go through one by one, whenever guys have time. These are like whichever important I converted here. Suppose see the machine name. See, it's my laptop name. So when you're sending master distribution, right? Suppose you want to know which request come from which machine or you're submitting a logs. So in that case, this will help you. So I run 5 machines, right? I'll get a 5 different IPs, names here. Okay, so I will get to know, okay, this log is running from that machine. Like that, I can get to know. Same as machine IP. whatever my IP, it will guess it. So if you compare Windows R, CMD, IP config, what is IP? 29.48. You see, 169.192.29.40. So like this, a lot of info is there on the numbers, functions. So these are important functions. Just whenever attempt that, go through one by one, understood that. It's very easy. So with that, if you know what are the functions available, so that you can get to know, okay, I have already functions, so I don't have to write the code. If you don't know what functions available, so what is the first option? You have one custom requirement. By default, you'll try to write a code only because you don't know. Okay, this function is there. So by default, you have to write code. So that's why let's try to understand, go through these functions, you'll get to know, okay, this is a function I will just know just by name. Okay, have case conversion is there, have IP is there. Okay, like this one by one. So that you'll just remember, okay, we have this cap bits in geometry using functions, so we don't have to write the code. Okay. Stop recording.